Hi, folks. A very warm welcome to season 4, episode 17. I have a wonderful guest today who's Dr. Doktor, and we are going to be talking about how to stop attracting unavailable men, the belief shift that every woman needs, which follows on beautifully from the past few podcast episodes where I've been talking about attachment styles and unavailable men. So it's wonderful to have a male perspective on what is a very big problem for lots of women. So before we jump in, let me introduce my guest. Dr. Ray is a best-selling author whose book was published by the team behind the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. With a doctorate in clinical psychology and over 28 years of experience as a life and relationship coach, Dr. Ray has shared stages with some of the most influential voices in personal development, including Marianne Williamson, Bruce Lipton, John Gray, and Eckhart Tolle. His expertise has been featured on the E! Channel, HBO, and KCAL9 Los Angeles, as well as in Psychology Today, Men's Health, and the Los Angeles Times. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm number 17.
For season 4. I think you're about a number 133 in total, which is not to diminish.
Do you have many men on these conversations?
I don't, so you might be like in the top 3 of male guests.
I'm number 3.
You're number 3. Right, I'm really excited for this conversation today. It's been something I've been diving into, so it's wonderful, like I've said, to have a male perspective on this. But can you share from your experience, what is the one big hidden belief you see powerful, capable women holding that pulls them towards emotionally unavailable men?
Well, I believe in like our emotions, in energy first, which creates a kind of frequency and how both men and women show up. And oftentimes with, say, women who are bosses of their business, they might be considered more sometimes masculine in a way that they approach life, is that they got there by having to do things by themselves. And so if a woman has moved into the level of kind of being independent and more certain about her life, and therefore allowing herself to be open and vulnerable and available to men, and especially if she's had really negative experiences, that she might say, shut herself off. Therefore, the energy she might be putting out there is that I'm going to have to end up doing it by myself anyway, to that at the end of the day, that if I want to get it done right, I have to do it, to just even the emotions of like feeling let down. And so therefore, of course, that's going to vibrationally attract men who kind of show up that way, because I just know this. I see myself as a stronger man, and when I would date women, I've noticed that whatever was going on with a woman, if she had not done her inner work, she was leading either with her trauma, her childhood, and everything else. And when you would talk to her, and this is not like I'm on these dates and judging people and doing some type of psychoanalysis, it's where you can see how they've become their story. And therefore, if I don't fit that story as a man who actually is stable and grounded and can handle a woman being upset with me, that I don't know where I would fit in that story, because it's as if they already have themselves made up. And so therefore, to really open themselves up to a man could be very scary. Therefore, they're not available. Vibrationally, they have one foot in and one foot out. So it seems as though that the men that they would track would be an extension of that.
Yeah, I think dating and relationships are often our biggest mirrors, aren't they? With showing up where we've got to do our own work. Interesting you share about your dating experience, because you're someone who's done a lot of inner work. You've done a lot of self-reflection. I think we should be psychoanalyzing people on dates. Thankfully, I've been out of the dating pool for a while, but some of my friends and I could have written interesting books about the men we encountered, but the men might have said exactly the same thing about us, I'm sure. But if we talk about something I see happening often is women who are doing their work, women who are self-aware, women who are in this independent space end up attracting in men who won't commit to them, who treat them really horribly. And these very capable women kind of allow this pattern to keep perpetuating. And one of the things I've been diving into is attachment styles. So obviously, if you're anxiously attached, we tend to attract in avoidant people. But
Mhm.
from a male psychological perspective, what's going on when we have a woman who's capable, but sort of starts to overfunction in relationship and is maybe too available? What's happening from a male perspective that makes these guys come across as unavailable?
Well, first off, it's important to recognize whether or not you are waiting on a man's potentiality
Mm-hmm.
versus how he has shown up now. I notice more with women, particularly women who are more in the people pleasing mode. And regardless of, say, the attachment style, that a man can share a very sad story or sentimental story or of how he is trying, really hard to move forward in his life.
Mm-hmm.
And I find women to be far more compassionate. Therefore, they might open up that space to wait. And they can connect to, say, that reality version in which they see the potentiality in that man, to where they start projecting onto the man how they feel and how they see the man becoming better. And they kind of seem to hold that template and project it onto the man while the man isn't still showing up. Um, he's not committing to, what he said he was going to do. And I see that more than anything else. And a good example would be with my partner I'm with. And so she has dated primarily more feminine men. And where her and I had a power struggle is where she would try to jump in for me when we first started dating about certain things. And I was repelled by it. I like women to be able to be supportive, but she was used to leading her relationships, and she was somewhat modeling what her mother did. Her mother became like the one who held the home together, and her father ended up getting AIDS or HIV, then AIDS, and she didn't even know her father was either in a closet, bisexual, or whatever. And so a lot of trust issues that my partner's mother grew up with, and she modeled that. So a lot of times that overcompensation can be them modeling what they saw growing up, to where the pattern they see is when a woman, say your mother, taking care of men. I mean, you'll see this also with younger men where they experience their mother cleaning up for them all the time. And if they don't do it, the mother still steps in. And they will attract, say, teenage girls to women who will pick up where they don't. And they're just used to that. I've seen that. And it's not like the man is like thinking, oh, I'm going to see how I'm going to be a jerk and lie and act childish and whatever else. It's that, they live in a reality where like their clothes was always picked up. People made decisions for them. And that if there was no, like, say, strong boundaries, that they will just cross over them. So I know with stronger women, if they had really good, healthy boundaries, they would say no. And this man, where it appears like to others, he's being a jerk, he's taking advantage, and they might call that man like a narcissist because he seems to lack empathy. Truly, he's actually just operating almost like from a child's mind. And children, if they were not children, you would think sometimes all they do is think about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They're very self-absorbed, but they're children, and they haven't really lived enough life to recognize that how they behave impacts others, or that you're going to be more attractive if you actually help out. And so you have these men doing this over and over again. And of course, you have the women who are willing to help lean in. And so it ends up kind of being this dynamic where women are overcompensating because it's what they modeled, because they're waiting on a man's potential. because at the end of the day, they know no one else is going to maybe take care of them, so they got to do it themselves. And then the men are benefiting from that, that they've been able to get all their needs met thus far by not doing a whole lot.
Yeah. And what I hear in there that's missing is a huge communication piece. And I think it's something that women are very bad at. I'm stereotyping enormously here, but and I talk from my own perspective, is if I reflect on my first marriage, my first husband was pretty lousy as a husband, but I operated from the premise that he should know how to be better. And at no point did I say to him, this is what I need from you. Please, will you do this? Please, will you do that? This is how you can support me. And it was a big learning for me that actually none of us are mind readers, but sometimes we kind of expect that somebody should pick up on a nuance of my tone of voice or my body language, and they should know what to do. And that's been a huge lesson for me in marriage number two, of actually being brave enough to communicate what it is I want. But I think sometimes when women are in a relationship where they end up in the over functioning role with a man, there's the fear that if I ask him to step up, he'll leave. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, thank you for bringing it up, because I have experienced that myself, and even Alison Armstrong talks about that, where women will project onto men their type of intuition or the kind of non-communication that happens with just facial gesture and energy. And so they expect men to pick up on those cues, rather just having a request, and bringing it up. So there's that. The whole idea of, if I speak up, he might leave, then he's not the man for you.
100%.
Those conversations should come up very early on in a relationship, as an example. And this is no joke. Even when I start relationships with maybe even business partners, and I did this with my partner, where we went into business with someone and I asked some questions because I wanted to, it's like everyone looks beautiful on paper at first. We are representing ourselves from the perspective when we're not hopefully in our shit. Okay. Right. And so it's like a person could like talk to you over the phone or on FaceTime and say, I'm a spiritual person. I love to communicate. I'm very open-minded. Sure, I'll remain curious and all the right things. Oh, I go to the gym also. I eat organic also. All the things you're like, wow, he seems like he has his shit together. Well, what you really want to know are these things. Number one, what are you like when you're in your shit? How do you know? And I know when you're in your shit, and how can I support you when you're in your shit? If you know those, if you have the answers for those three questions, you'll get through a lot of stuff that most couples, it ends up breaking them up 5 to 10 years down the road, because a few things that reveals. One, the person has done enough introspection to kind of know that they're not perfect and that they might need help. And then two, you can see the signs. I got that from my partner. She'll end up working more. She gets very task oriented. I saw it the other day. We were in a kitchen and we were having a conversation, and there was some tension for a moment. And even after I told her I will wash the pan, she started grabbing it. I said, "Did you hear me?" She says, "I'm just overloaded right now." I went, "Okay." And that was it. But I saw it.
Yeah.
And I could have taken it personally, like she's mad at me, versus that she's overloaded. But I was able to see it and lean into it and say, "Give me the damn pans. I'll wash them." Yeah. So and then the other one is this. The other one is this. And I used to do this when I used to do these authentic relating workshops, and I think they're great on the first date, actually. And I know women hearing this, they're like, "Oh my God, that's a lot." Well, do you want to go deep or not? Because if a man can't, and these are not really that difficult. It would be knowing this, getting this information. If I were to put all your exes in the same room, what would they say are your strengths and weaknesses? That's it. See, you're laughing. You know what I mean?
It's a great question. It's a
Because
horrible thought, but
but the thing is, if any man or woman has done any introspection,
yeah,
and that they first off both take themselves seriously and not so seriously, they should be able to mention this, because whether you're healed from those dynamics, at least there's enough awareness about yourself to share to another person, because there's a good chance it's going to show up. Like, for example, my thing could be where, you know, most of my exes have said that, like, I can take control over too many things. I don't ask for support. You know, it could be that I get really impatient. And so those are, like, say, my shadows. And it showed up even in this relationship, but I actually have healed it on a whole nother level because I revealed it. But it's more, she can see it when I'm in that experience. She can, when I say see it, be present to what's really going on versus judge the behavior.
yeah,
You know, very
yeah,
important, because most
yeah.
people break up because of a particular behavior, not because of who we are. Isn't it interesting?
Yeah, and I agree with you wholeheartedly, because I think often we take other people's behavior when, I mean, I love it when they're in their shit, we take it personally. It's something I've done, or that we make it about ourselves, don't we? Because
Mhm.
that's how we are as humans, until you start to do that deeper work with somebody else, and like you've said, to observe what your partner's like under stress. And I think, unfortunately, when people are dating, we hide that stressed part of ourselves, and we put on our best behavior, don't we, until we can't keep the facade up anymore. And it would be better if we're able to be honest. And to come back to your point about women falling for a man's potential, I think that happens a lot, and it's a very dangerous thing to do, because we have to accept the person we have in front of us.
Mhm.
And I think things that have happened for me when I've been dating people is men, again, stereotyping a lot here, but men tend to be quite upfront with their position on what they want from a relationship, what they want from life. And I think as women, we tend to go, oh, he said that, but maybe he'll change his mind at some point.
Yes, yeah, it's like, so men definitely are more declarative of what they want, and women are a little bit more wavery to, they're not being authentic to what they really prefer. And I see that in conversations with my partner, who's a coach, and I see her as very evolved, where I will ask her questions sometimes, not sometimes, actually a lot. She can watch this and she'll agree, where she just can't get to a strong yes or no.
Hmm.
And it's not like there's something wrong with being indecisive in the moment. But of course, she used to say, "Well, I'm a woman. I need to feel it more." She would say that, or
Hmm.
she would say that it takes me time to kind of integrate this so I can come up with something. But now what we've noticed is that she there. I noticed that for more women than men, because again, we're both are making generalizations, and that's fine. Men can be far more selfish than women.
Hmm.
So women might say, I don't want to take the piece of cake from someone else. To, if I say yes or no, could this hurt someone? There's a lot more involved. Or will I be safe with my strong yes or no? Because you also brought up about, I don't know, 10 minutes ago and 31 seconds. I'm just kidding. I didn't keep the timing on that. But there you go. Is that you said that women sometimes are afraid that the man might walk away if we
Hmm.
say something. Well, that's a true traumatic experience that has happened with a lot of women, where they have witnessed their parents fighting and the father leaving. So they don't see any healthy uh, conflict resolution. And they don't know exactly the story. They just see bickering, the energy. He takes off.
Hmm.
They've witnessed that. Um, and so most of us have not really witnessed a lot of healthy, conflict resolution skills.
Yeah.
There's that. Number two, it's the narrative of saying, if I say something or lean in, he might walk away. Well, listen to it being shared this way. If I am myself, he might not be okay with it. If I
Yeah.
share what I'm feeling right now, uh, he might reject it.
Yeah.
If I share who I really am in this moment, that it's not safe. And if if you're in a relationship where you're experiencing that, I'm not sure if that's the person for you. And if you're not sure, you got to bring this up because every day you might be building up more resentment to you're losing some part of yourself and you're kind of somewhat adjusting to the version in which that he could be okay with. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And so I
Yeah.
think both people, like this whole idea of compromise, I, a compromise would be like where it could be like, I don't know, when you wash dishes, one person might, when it's clean, they put the cup up or down, you know? You know, there's certain things you can, it's not a big deal. You might have one
Yeah.
person who folds their clothes a little bit differently. But when it comes to the idea of not really expressing who you are, or you're with somebody sexually and they just don't like oral sex or things like that, that might be a deal breaker. I'm not sure if you want to compromise on that. Like there's some
Mm.
clear things that I think men and women should know that they
Yeah.
prefer in a
Mm.
relationship that are deal breakers. That's where the strong yes or no comes in.
Yeah.
And probably the most important is authentic communication.
Yeah.
And if a man is falling apart this first, second date, that's why they call it dating. If anything, it's both men and women, but I would say more with women. Horrible daters. Horrible. Horrible. Like I swear to it, and my partner used it in one of her workshops for women. And it's called like the 10 red flags women should know when they're dating, something like that. Of course, it had some
Mhm.
like catchy, polarizing titles, so women go, I need that. And there are really important things in there I could bring up. I'll share these with you, and you're going to go, I wish I knew that. Number one, does he have other passions beyond like the relationship? Like, is he excited to talk about other things? Otherwise, it's gonna be all about you. How
Yeah.
does he talk about his parents? If he's talking about his parents as if he's a child or like a teenager, they're assholes. Well, guess what? He's gonna bring that into a relationship. How does he talk about his ex-partners? Oh, she's a bitch, blah, blah, blah. Then he's not willing to take any personal responsibility and hasn't grown, and he's going to
Mhm.
bring that stuff into the relationship. I can keep
Mm.
going on and on. And no,
Yeah.
this is not an interrogation that you go down this list. It's going to be revealed in the
Mm.
conversations. You
Yeah.
know, um, it's important to know these certain things, and that's why they call it dating because you don't want a man who's looking for his happiness and his purpose to be about you. Ah,
Yep.
you know,
Ugh. Ugh.
yeah,
No, or vice
yeah,
versa. No,
yeah.
absolutely not. I want to just come back to something that you said, which so important to talk about. This piece of if I really speak my truth, somebody might leave or somebody might not like me. And that resonated for me because with my first husband, I was very young. We were very young when we got together, far too young.
So
That
is that
was
two
what,
years ago?
yeah, like 2 years ago, Ray. Thanks. Very good. You just scored yourself some points. Um, is I sat and I thought, if I really ask him for what I want and need, he might leave. And the thought of that for me was absolutely devastating. And now, 20 years, not 2 years, 20 years on, I sit with that and I can agree with what you said at the beginning of the podcast. If I was to speak my truth to somebody and they left, I'd help them pack and I'd hold the door open for them and make sure it was firmly shut behind them. But I think there's a big self-worth piece in here that a lot of women feel less than, like you've said, if I can't be my authentic self, or I can't be my authentic self with this person, because what if I reveal the true me and I'm rejected? So we hide ourselves the whole time. And a lot of the work I do with women is this self-worth piece of, and the first thing there, I think, is you've got to know who you are. And I think a lot of people just haven't done that shadow work, that self-reflection and that introspection because you can't really speak your truth and your needs to somebody else if you don't know what they are. So, as somebody who is an expert in helping people shift beliefs that hold them back, where do you start with rebuilding self-worth if your belief is, I'm going to be myself and someone's going to leave?
Well, for 11.99, you can get this book called. No.
I'm going to share it in the show notes. Don't panic.
Well, it's a joke, but there's some truth in a section here where it talks about the 11 main influencers and which have shaped you, me, and most people and like Western cultures of their sense of self, and relationships. So, as an example, most people don't even know why they want to be in a relationship. Bottom line.
Yeah.
I mean, they might say it could be where I don't want to be alone. That's not a good
Not a good reason.
you know. They might say, well, I want to have a sexual companion. I'm like, well, like, go on TikTok or, or one of those dating apps or something, Bumble. You'll meet some very
Right,
quickly.
right. Yep.
Yeah. So it's developing a stronger relationship of how an actual relationship, say outside yourself, but ultimately it's within yourself, because your relationships outside yourself, when I say outside yourself, it's with a physical person, can't get better than a relationship you have within yourself. Because if you still have negative beliefs or expectations that will never be met and things like that, your partner in a relationship is always going to fall short. But if your idea for relationships to grow, to love yourself more, to love parts of yourself that you judge, and to expand and share ideas and to be able to have conversations and of course all the juicy stuff, then you're going to maybe have a different experience. Because if you're a lot of, like, for example, I wish both men and women would drop the idea that there's something wrong with them if they're single. Bottom line.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And there could be people say, well, it's easy for you to say, no, I have actually been single more times in my adulthood versus, being in a relationship. And it's because I was more interested in self-discovery. I was interested in like traveling and doing other things because I also, luckily I had parents who were older when they had me to where they wanted me to like figure things out, like that they didn't have an opportunity to do, meaning that they both had been married before. So this was like a second marriage for them. And because of that narrative, it was where I didn't feel that pressure like a lot of people. So I got to know myself a lot better. And it gave me the opportunity to look at relationships as an opportunity to really understand myself better. And in this very moment, I'm probably in I am in the best relationship I have ever been in, okay? Now, I have no idea if that's because I've reached a place of maybe accepting more of myself. I turned 56 this year. I have no idea. Or it's also this. My partner, who's 53, she's done a lot of work also to where when we are together, if I'm frustrated, if something's not working out, because she's done inner work and because she's just a really fucking great human being, I know with no doubt that whatever I'm saying when I'm frustrated with is typically about me.
Yeah.
It could be I didn't get much sleep. It could be more that I didn't gather enough information and didn't remain curious. It's more that when you have a person who has boundaries and we're also exercising healthy communication, that we are like, in other words, we're not defensive. We always have that opportunity to share from that perspective of something could grow from this versus I'm going to prove you wrong and me right. Or that I'm going to try to tell you that the reason why I'm a miserable person is because of you. It's more, hey, here's a moment. What do you feel? What do you think? Here's a moment. And that is the most beautiful relationship that you can have because it is relating all the time. And we're changing, especially as we get older. And so you want to grow with your partner. You want to grow together. And that's a beautiful relationship.
I totally couldn't agree more. And I think it's so important for both people in a relationship to be doing their own work. I
Hmm.
think it becomes a problem when you've got one person who's doing quite a lot of work and somebody who isn't, because we're all changing all the time.
Hmm.
What do you see as the most common beliefs that people hold about themselves that cause problems in relationships?
By the way, was your dog barking a little bit ago and you muted your microphone?
Yeah, yeah,
I remembered.
yeah.
Um,
Now you've just outed me. I was trying to be all professional.
well, you know what I did during COVID when we all had to like do stuff through Zoom and we were
Yeah.
forced, and you had children maybe in the background. There was some like conversations like this where you could see my eyes going somewhere because I was watching my son. I'm like, is he gonna leave? Is he gonna walk behind the camera? So you can see me like in the flow, and all suddenly like I'm like not even present.
But it's fine. It's become, I think, what we're totally segueing here, but I think the wonderful thing about COVID is that we've all accepted that everybody has a normal life happening.
Hmm.
We're not
Yeah.
here like, oh, Emma and Ray are pretending to be so professional here and there's nothing funny happening. We've got a dog in here, dogs outside, and it's just life, isn't it? And it
Yeah.
comes back to that point of actually accepting the reality of what is,
Yes.
and it's all fine. It's all
Yeah.
fine.
Well, did you see some of those like conversations where it's a professional journalist and the child walks in?
I
Do you
know, and the
see?
poor guy on the BBC, and the poor guy
Yeah.
thought he was going to be fired.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, he became a meme and got
Yeah.
global fame, and everyone was like, "Oh, that was the most human thing ever." With the poor wife who was scrambling through the door trying to grab the children by their hair.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, again, that was a gift from that. Anyway, I completely forgot the conversation, the question you asked. What
I
was
was
it that
asking about the most challenging and destructive beliefs that people have that wreck their relationships.
the idea that the person you're with is going to complete you. Number
Hmm.
two, that you find the perfect person versus you create the best relationship with a new person. Number three, that you don't heal your trauma and you just recreate it with another person to prove yourself right that you can't find a trusting person, which is really yourself. Those are some of them.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just, yeah, it's like and I've seen this many times. I'm going to have a coaching call. I just realized I spaced out that I didn't. It's on my calendar, but I have another calendar. I didn't put it in. But I met an individual. I met a man who, great guy, but like a perfectionist, and he met someone who sounds really fantastic, but he's very immature when it comes to relationship. Meaning, he's like a late bloomer in that, and he wanted to understand like my perspective on a few things. And of course, as a older male, and I've gone down that path, I'm like, dude, she sounds like an amazing woman, and it sounds like you're being an asshole. To be honest, like this is the stuff you would talk about before. And I go, why haven't you spoken to her about it? I don't know. I said, well, this is why she's there. I bet he says, yeah, I bet she can handle, I'm sure she can handle these types of conversations. I'm like,
Hmm.
yeah. I go, that's why they call it dating. That's
Yeah,
why they call it like adulting.
yeah,
That's why, but he has, it was more, he was starting to like check out other women, get curiosity rather than like lean in. I'm like,
yeah,
did you want to? I go, when you enter a relationship, and you brought up something, a lot of guys want to like date casually. That's a
hmm,
common thing
hmm,
because they don't have the emotional strength to hold that container. They
hmm.
think it'll be easier with another woman. They'll
Yes,
think, like they don't realize that no matter what, there you are. And if you didn't do any growth in the first relationship, the
yep,
second or the third,
yep,
it will keep showing up. And
yep,
has nothing to do with the other one's prettier or whatever it is, because you're going to get sick and tired of yourself of how you show up in that relationship, but you'll end up blaming her again. And so,
Absolutely.
yeah, so dating casually is also a form of irresponsibility
Hmm.
or a
Yep.
lack of communication skills or
Yeah.
maturity. And so
Yeah.
great thing is that this client, like he actually reached out. He's like, is this,
Is
what
this
is this,
me?
and yeah, it is you.
Am I the problem?
Yeah, you are.
Yes.
Yeah, well, so, and when I say, you're being an a-hole, I have that relationship with, my clients and we can laugh with each other and he can
Yeah.
handle it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like doing the work, and I have met some really great men who just don't know, just don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Mm.
I've met lots of women who just don't know either. I think that's the thing. And I'll wrap us up on the point you made, which I loved because it's a realization I came to. If you keep expecting somebody to fix you and you
Mhm.
keep seeing the same pattern showing up, the same type of unavailable person, to come back to our theme for the podcast, there's a common denominator and it's you. So it's an invitation to do some work on yourself, to challenge your own behavior patterns, challenge your beliefs, and see things play out differently. And you can get hold of Ray's book, which will help you do that. Just tell us briefly about your book, Ray. I'm going to pop a link in the show notes so people can go straight ahead and buy it.
Thank you. It's all it takes is one drop, your one big hidden belief, and master your life. And it's like a good read plus a workbook where it takes you through a process where you can see the types of thoughts that you have that are not even yours, that are ones you adopted unconsciously. It's what you've witnessed your parents maybe do, things that have been passed on to you culturally. All of those things we should look at. And this is not like going in your head and making it all complicated. If anything, it is to like strip away all the things that have been in your way. Most people don't realize that. They hear inner work, the shadow work. Oh my God, it's that sounds like a lot of work. When no, you work really hard pretending to be someone else. You
Yeah.
work so much harder trying to put up this front and trying
Yeah.
to avoid conflict. My life is freaking easy with my partner, with my closest friends, with my children. Like we're all very transparent. We're
Hmm.
very open. In fact, my son, 11 years old, like sent me a text message yesterday and he said, Dad, you need to start letting me help you out. Like you take over for my mom and Amy and Nicole, blah, blah, blah. Like he called me out about something because he saw that I was a little bit overwhelmed and I brought something up, but he also brought up that maybe you would have been less overwhelmed if you would let others support you. Still, like my whole family knows that Dad likes to do stuff his way sometimes because he still has control issues.
Oh, my control freak sees your control freak. Don't worry, Ray. It's a perpetual problem here as well. Um, where is the best place for people to find you or connect with you online?
It would just be my website because I've had it for
Okay,
almost 30 years, the
cool.
raydoctor.com, raydoktor.com. And it has always current things I'll be doing. I'm going to be doing like these monthly workshops for individuals that probably are listening to the show as well. Very
Mhm.
low entry to get in, and you'll see some real time coaching with a
Amazing.
group of
I
people.
will I'll pop the details in the show notes so people can come find you. They can get your book. Thank you. This has been a wonderful conversation. I've really loved connecting with you. Thank you for being a guest, and thank you for joining me and sharing your amazing wisdom on what it means to be in the dating world and how to be better. I
Thank you.
think we've
Thank
got
you for
some.
having me. Thank you for having me as number three. And
You're so welcome.
all right.
Thanks for being with us, everybody. Thank you for listening. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.